As some of you have noted, we've given quite a lot of attention to electric vehicle fires of late, both making a video discussing why they can be a challenge for first responders, as well as several videos focusing on the ongoing recalls involving the Hyundai Kona EV and Chevrolet Bolt EV. A very small number of these cars, whose battery packs were both supplied by LG Energy, but used battery cells manufactured at different facilities, suffered battery fires last year, leading to both manufacturers issuing software updates to try and minimize the risk of further battery fires. Chevrolet issued an initial software patch that restricted maximum state of charge for all 2017 through 2019 Bolt EVs while it worked on a permanent solution. Hyundai, meanwhile, first issued a software update to restrict the car's maximum states of charge and, according to some owners, reduce maximum charge rates. Then more recently, it announced a battery replacement program for all affected Kona EVs made from 2018 through some models made in 2020 after further vehicle fires and the identification of a physical defect in affected cars' battery packs caused by a manufacturing fault. Incidentally, cars manufactured after that 2020 date are unaffected by the recall and not at risk of battery fires as far as we can tell at this time, but there is a little update to that later on in the video. Chevrolet, meanwhile, pushed further software updates to affected vehicles that the company describes as a permanent solution to the problem. Last week, I made a video in which I stated that there had been 2 further Kona EV fires and noted that while I didn't know at the time if affected cars had received Hyundai's software update, given that there had been cases of cars with the update still catching fire, recommended people with affected model years of Kona EV didn't drive their cars until Hyundai solved the problem. I also stated that we'd reached out to Hyundai for a statement and would let you know when we had an update on the issue. That video got a lot of attention, and many of you commented that you felt we were being unfair to Hyundai, Chevrolet, and electric cars in general, and that we were spreading FUD, that's fear, uncertainty, and doubt, about EVs. Some of you also felt that we'd got our facts wrong and stated that a Kona battery replacement was on the horizon for you in the near future. So today, this video is to address some of those comments, share Hyundai's official statement that we got today, and for Chevrolet Bolt EV owners, give you some news about the efficacy of the permanent battery software update that's being carried out under an official recall. Together, the steps being made by Hyundai and Chevrolet, if not quell, certainly go a long way towards setting the majority of concerns we had about both cars to rest. But first, to those who felt we were spreading FUD, an editorial note. Covering the world of cleaner, greener, safer and smarter transportation, especially from a team with a vested interest in wanting the world to transition away from fossil fuels, it is all too easy to fall into the trap of wanting to only say positive things about EVs. Many of our team meetings bring up the subject in one form or another with fair regularity. But to only make positive videos and to shy away from tough and difficult subjects when they occur would do a general disservice to the goal of transitioning the world's fleet away from petrol and diesel power. And frankly, it would move us more towards the influencer or marketing advocacy sphere, which we're frankly not keen to be. It's one reason we don't accept advertisements or partnerships from automakers on our channel. It's why nobody on the team has any stocks or shares in any car company, and it's why when we own a car, we mention that fact when we cover it. We are journalists, not influencers, and that means covering the good and bad aspects of our world. Which reminds me, as I'm sure you know, my partner and I both drive Chevrolet Bolt EVs as our daily drivers, as does Winter. And Winter and his partner used to own a Hyundai Kona EV before they executed a buyback due to these Kona EV fires. With that out of the way, let's look at both Hyundai and Chevrolet and how they're tackling their respective recalls. Hyundai first. We received an official statement from the car company this morning, which reads as follows. The company is aware of the reported incidents and will provide more details as soon as we investigate the situation. In the US, we began battery replacements for affected vehicles earlier this month. We are working to complete the recall repairs as quickly as we can. Prior to battery replacement, we continue to advise impacted owners to reduce the maximum charge level to 80% to minimize the safety risk. We recommend owners visit hyundaiusa.com/campaign200 or contact our Consumer Assistance Center at 800-633-5151 or owners.hyundaiusa.com/us/en/contact-us HTML to address any specific questions they have. Now to your experiences. First, I want to clarify that, as some of you rightly pointed out, because we weren't that clear in our original video, that not all Kona EVs have the affected battery packs, and so Kona EVs made in the last year or so do not need the battery recall because they have different packs made by SK Innovation. 2020 and younger model year Kona EVs are unaffected as far as we know, and some of you said that not all Kona EVs made before that date are affected. Based on the official recall statement, however, all Kona EVs with the original 64 kWh LG Energy battery packs are involved, and I believe the pack changed somewhere in late 2019. And to be clear, my original piece expressed our concern that all affected cars should not be driven until their packs were replaced. Not all Kona EVs completely. I am sorry if that wasn't clear. Given last week's fire, I still maintain that it's a smart move if you're at all worried about driving your car to not drive it. I know some of you have told us you're not worried about any risk because of the low possibility of anything going wrong. After all, there's only been a handful of Kona EV fires out of 70,000 or more made. So you are right, statistics is frankly on your side. Personally, the team here would still recommend following Hyundai's advice at an absolute minimum, keeping affected Kona EVs parked outside and away from your home until the pack is replaced, or until we have enough information to place blame away from a pack fault in those two most recent fires. And if we had access to a different transportation choice, we'd be advocating for people using that until the pack was replaced. The first battery recall replacement we've heard of was from India, where the 5,000 or so Kona EVs that live there are already undergoing battery replacement. There's been no documented case of fires involving the Hyundai Kona EV in India, and Aj in the comments said that they've had their Kona EV's battery pack replaced at the start of the year, with the whole process, quote, seamless and quick. Another commenter, Alex, says that he knows someone in India whose battery pack was recalled, with the process taking about 2 months. Both of these reports from India are fantastic to hear and does suggest Hyundai's response does appear to depend on where you live in the world. Another commenter, Victor, not sure where they are in the world, noted that when he went to his Hyundai dealership, there were 2 old Kona EV battery packs in the loading bay, and told us in his comment that his dealership was replacing batteries on the oldest Kona EVs first. Right now, he says he feels safe with his 2019 and is following Hyundai's recommendations regarding charging. Ryan, I'm also not sure where he is, noted that he had a call from his dealership to say that they were ready to start the battery replacement on his Kona EV. But as he just traded it out for a Model 3 Standard Range Plus, he obviously couldn't have the battery replacement carried out. In some markets around the world, there is a mixture of responses. Some of you say you've heard nothing from Hyundai, while others, sometimes in the same country, say that your car is due a replacement pack in the near future and you have an appointment booked. Take Australia, for example. Peter says his friend has been called to make an appointment for his car's battery replacement, but Susan says she's heard nothing since the original email notifying her about the issue. Bruno says nobody has even contacted him about his car at all. This pattern seems replicated in other markets, but I should note that it's not unusual for an automaker recall to not immediately get notifications to owners, especially if you purchased your car used and you haven't visited a dealership yet. While the various governments' vehicle databases around the world do ultimately update manufacturers on who has one of their cars, it can take a long while for these systems to do their thing. Jean in Canada says they will get their Kona EV battery replaced in July, while several of you in New Zealand tell us that all affected Kiwi Kona EVs are due to get their packs replaced in the coming months, with all of the necessary packs destined for New Zealand allocated for shipping, but as far as we can tell, not actually shipped yet, because COVID. The TLDR, Hyundai is now actively rolling out updates, and as some of you noted, with 70,000 or more cars expected to be impacted, it's going to take a while for all of those replacements to take place. However, with some news reports suggesting that the car which caught fire in South Korea last week wasn't on the list of recalled cars, I still believe caution is the better path here. Double check to see if your car is affected, and hopefully your dealership will be able to keep you abreast of when or how any necessary replacements will be carried out. Which brings me to Chevrolet and the Bolt EV recall. As I've previously stated, the Bolt EV recall involved a software update for all 2017 through 2019 cars that added extra battery monitoring to identify problems with packs before they became an issue. Both my Bolt EVs have been updated, and so far, both seem to be functioning as expected, with full access to the original battery capacity and range per charge. I will note that over the weekend, when temperatures at our house hit 116 degrees Fahrenheit or 46 degrees Celsius, my wife's black Bolt EV Premier with nearly 100,000 miles on the clock was sitting there running its battery cooling system almost constantly. My Bolt LT, which is red and has 60,000 miles on the clock, did not. The explanation here, I'm guessing, is that a black car gets a lot hotter in direct sunlight than a red car, because physics. At Winter's house in Maine, his white Bolt EV hasn't been running its fans very much in the 100 degree Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius heat, but his partner's black Model 3's fans have been going virtually non-stop. As I noted in the video last week, we've not heard of a single Bolt EV catching fire after the second and final software update, which does suggest that the software is doing its job. Comments you left for us back that up, with multiple commenters and many people on Bolt forums online either stating their car's pre-software update check at the dealership showed an issue with their pack, or that their car has thrown an error after having the software update carried out. In the case of the former happening, the dealership is arranging a replacement pack or replacement modules as required, but in the case of the latter, it suggests some cars that tested fine during the update process are now detecting issues with their packs and automatically entering into a software-induced brick mode that prevents them from being driven or charged until the pack is examined. Those of you who have encountered this mode state that after receiving that error and having your car taken to the dealership has confirmed that the pack required replacement, with one or more modules within the pack entering into a state that the new software deemed as unhealthy. Battery replacements in this case have taken anything from a few days to a week, or sometimes quite a bit more, but all of you report feeling happy with the car's onboard system detecting a problem before it became dangerous. Though it should be noted for those with affected vehicles that GM does not cover a replacement vehicle for that period when your car is out of action, your dealer might give you a loaner, depending on how much you sweet talk them. Based on the conversations we've had, it really does depend on where you live and what your dealership is like and how it views your future relationship. We've heard dealerships encouraging people not to actually get the update because it would leave customers with no car for a few days or longer. But on the flip side, we've also encountered dealerships who, despite not being required to, have gone out of their way to provide alternative transportation, often another EV. At this point, it's important to note that this kind of thing, an issue with the car that requires this kind of attention, isn't something that's specific to electric cars. Over the years, we've seen many recalls and car issues that have taken a long time to fix, from the notorious Takata airbag recalls to issues with various fuel injection systems, gearboxes failing, leaks, and from a wide variety of gasoline engines, fires. You name it, we've seen it. So while any potential safety issue with our cars is scary and can really damage our trust and confidence in the brand that makes them, first-hand reports like the ones I've just shared should, I hope, rebuild some of that confidence. After all, I believe most of us would like the world to view us not only for what we've done, but for how we've dealt with the bad things we've done too. So there you have it. Both car companies are working to rectify previous issues with their cars' battery packs, and from what we can tell, those who had their cars worked on report no future problems. And that's very good news for each car company, and EVs as a whole. That's it for today. Please do hit subscribe and the bell if you haven't yet, as it should make sure you don't miss out on our videos, and please do the same to our other two channels, Transport Evolved Take 2 and, if you're in a hurry, Transport Evolved Shorts. Thanks on behalf of the entire TE crew go out to the folks on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month Patreon supporters. Special thanks to our $50 a month patrons, that's Andrew Martin, Guido Drahoa, Brophy Wolf, Anonymous Freak, Regine Fellows, Carl Hodgson, Gordon C, Paul Conway, Laura Sanborn, Anthony Coates, Denny Hyde, Sean Ueda, and Tazla in the Gong. And our deepest gratitude to our $100 a month Patreon supporters, John Lyons, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, JP Fagerback, Will Graylin, and Ian. If you'd like to support the ranks of wonderful supporters, you'll find links to Patreon, Bitcoin, and Ko-fi. You can chat with the team and TE fans over at Discord. We are getting very close to our 1000th Patreon supporter, and we have some pretty super cool ideas for how to celebrate. Thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving!